The law on prevention of money laundering and financing of terrorist activities received overwhelming support in the House of Representatives. It introduces several key measures to strengthen efforts in combating financial crimes. The legislation includes provisions that limit cash payments to 15,000 euros and provides a precise definition of close associates of politically exposed individuals, subjecting them to increased surveillance. Additionally, the law establishes regulations for virtual currencies. With the passing of this law, Sarajevo has fulfilled another requirement for initiating accession negotiations with the EU and avoided a place on the Council of Europe's money laundering grey list.
That's a serious step forward. That law was really important, and confirmation is really important. That shows that we can agree also on the state level inside of this coalition. We officially also started negotiation with Frontex, and those two decisions are proving that we are focused on our European path.
However, adoption of the law faced obstacles, primarily from the Serb secessionist alliance led by Milorad Dodik. The United States ambassador to Bosnia and Herzegovina directly called out Dodik as the main obstacle on the country's path to European integration. Earlier this month, in her visit to Bosnia, EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen urged the Balkan country to ramp up its reforms before the bloc examines its progress in March.
There is more work to be done. We need to see progress, especially, and this means adopted laws, on the fundamentals of the EU accession, that is democracy and the rule of law. It starts with the fight against money laundering, the conflict of interest, and, for example, the law on courts.
The country remains hopeful that with the successful implementation of these measures, it will soon embark on a new chapter of cooperation and prosperity with the European Union. Abdulvehab Ejupi, TRT World.
For more on this now, we are joined by Nevenka Tromp in The Hague. She's a lecturer in East European Studies at the University of Amsterdam. Thank you for being with us. How bad is the situation, the economic situation there in Bosnia? Can you help us understand more? Can you describe it for us?
You know, from the perspective of Bosnia and Herzegovina, came out from a very devastating war in 1995, where about 200 billion damage in its economic infrastructure has been done. Bosnia has been doing steadily quite okay with a regular increase of its national brutto gross product, and per capita income is also increasing. So there is relatively good news in a macroeconomic and structural ways, but if you look into the salaries, the living standard, potentials of economy, then we see that Bosnia is not doing as well as its natural and other infrastructure could allow for. And so mostly I'm talking about very well-educated Bosnian people with experts in all sorts of fields, in natural resources, and its proximity to European markets. So if you put all these other elements together, then you see that Bosnia is not doing that well as it could. And obviously the big reason is that Bosnia is now sort of singled out, isolated from European Union's market because of its very undefined position.
Interesting. We've also just heard from the report from our colleague, right, how serious certain economic problems are. For instance, money laundering and terrorist financing. How serious are these, and how much are they really putting at risk financial flows to and from abroad that are particularly important for investments, for foreign direct investments in the country?
You know, first of all, these issues about corruption and money laundering do not go to the core of potential of Bosnia and Herzegovina in resources and in manpower to be a very well-functioning economy. The level of corruption is actually more expression of the level of democratic development And mind you, on the democratic of the index of democracy, Bosnia has been faring very badly with qualification of hybrid democracy or hybrid regime out of 4. So why I am mentioning this, obviously the internal democratic of not so democratic structure of Bosnia and Herzegovina, how it came to become a state, makes it extremely vulnerable to all sorts of misbehavior, and obviously corruption is the expression or result of this political structure that makes Bosnia so vulnerable to it. Why? For example, there is, although very slightly good news, from the index of 180 countries that have been monitored by this corruption index, Bosnia fared last year on 34th place and now on 35. So there is a slight improvement, but improvement is just on paper, because we are looking into 108 years of which Bosnia is the least or worst performing European country. Russia comes even lower, but Russia is completely different issue at this point.
Right.
So if you look the level of democracy in connection with corruption, then we see that this corruption is actually coming more from political chaos